Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Let me start with a simple question. What do you know about Africa? Is your knowledge only about the wildlife or the documentaries you watched about African deserts or African jungles? Well, to be honest, these were my knowledge before I started to study Africa and African issues. In 2016, when I was a graduate student at Naval Postgraduate School, it was mandatory for me to write a thesis. So I wanted to write a thesis, but not just about the Middle East, because I was sick and bored of hearing the news about the Middle East. Because those were the only things that we hear about politics at that time, and the security studies and the terrorism studies. So I told myself that, okay, I want to write something about a completely new issue. So Africa is one of the areas that I don't have any information about. So that would be a very good option, so I can ameliorate my information about Africa, right? And I talked to several faculty and asked who is good at African studies, so I can go and ask for cooperation. Ask for consultancy. And they said Anna Simons, who is a professor at Defense Analysis Department, is an African expert, and she is a counterterrorism expert. So I went to her office and asked her that whether she would like to work with me, and she said, I can work with you only if you would like to study Somalia and El Shabaab. Okay, because Somalia is in Africa, so I can study Africa, right? And I shifted from Nigeria to Somalia because before talking to her, I was thinking about studying Nigeria, but it wasn't a big problem for me. So before starting my thesis, I wrote a research paper for a different class about El Shabaab and Somalia. It was a preparatory work for me. But later on, I heard the news, I got a news from Turkish embassy that our education was somehow ended for political reasons, so I couldn't finish my thesis and my studies, so I had to quit FPS. And I applied to Middlebury Institute a couple of months later, and I started my education in fall 2017 in Middlebury. I took a counterterrorism class. In that class, I had a final assignment which was about military issues, military tactics that can be used for counterterrorism. And this was a group project. I have other 2 people in my group, and I told them, hey guys, I know a little bit about Africa and I know a little bit about El Shabaab. So what do you think about writing something about El Shabaab? They said, okay, that's fine for us. And we write a paper and we got A, which was very good for us. We got A, and we sent that research paper, to a non-profit think tank organization in Europe, and they accepted to publish it. So we had a publication at that time. And I have also very close friends in that think tank organization, several close friends, and I prepare weekly news reports for that organization about African politics, African security issues, and I really enjoy it. My focus is on the Horn of Africa, on Sahel region, the Middle Africa, the Central Africa, and North Africa region. And so far, I really enjoyed it and I really benefited because I learned many new things. I ameliorate my information about Africa. And thanks for listening to me. That's all.
Speech number one can be any topic and any style that suits the speaker's fancy. But you undoubtedly met the objective of having a clear structure. You told us what you were going to say, then you told it, and we were reminded of what you said, so bravo. Conducting research about Africa is an intriguing subject, and the way in which you told your story captured our attention from the get-go while giving us a memorable introduction about you. For example, starting with a question immediately had us all engaged, and it's a very effective way of engaging your audience. It made us think. And expressing that you are sick and tired of the back and forth of counterterrorism dialogue that we all hear, you really led us into, we could all agree, that's something we could agree on, and then you had us intrigued as to, well, I wonder how you're going to go about and show us how you're enthused about the subject after all. I'd suggest when you're searching for a word, it was hard for me to criticize. I was really impressed with what you did. When you're searching for a word or a statement, I noticed that you scowled a little bit. So I would make an effort that when I'm struggling a little bit to just what I call fake it till you make it. Just can the scowl. And your volume, I could hear you really well, the intonation of your voice, all of that was very clear. It wasn't monotone, but it was so steady that I would say something that I really need to do is change your volume, change your rhythm a little bit, slow it down to draw us in, etc. I was particularly impressed by how little you referred to your notes. You made great eye contact throughout the room, and your specific and yet very subtle sense of humor was delightful. So overall, I think you did a fine job, and I look forward to what you have in store for us next time you speak.